Welcome to putting our Samsung devices on a much-needed diet. We're going to be covering Samsung phones. This also works on tablets as well as Galaxy watches. Now, the first thing that we're going to be looking at is debloating a Samsung phone. Now, in this video specifically, I'm using the S23 Ultra, not the S24, because I pre-recorded this a few months ago. But the concept is exactly the same. It works on any Samsung phone or tablet. So you're going to need a computer for this, one that has ADB installed. And if you don't have ADB installed or you don't know how to install it, then I've already made a video on how to do that. So you can go watch that and come back here when you're ready. No, go. It's fine. You can go. I'll wait. Did you go yet? No, it's totally fine. I'll wait right here. I'll wait for you. Just go watch that video. Get it out of the way. Now this is a clean install of OneUI 6. I just did a factory reset, and all I've done is sign into my account, so that way it would just restore settings and wallpaper and whatever. So we can swipe down, we'll go to settings, we can go all the way down to the bottom and click on About Phone, click on Software Information, and then we're going to tap the build number 7 times. Now developer mode is enabled, so now we can go back twice, and you can see we have a new option, Developer Options. Now we can scroll down till we have USB debugging right here. We'll turn that on. Click OK, and now we can plug the phone into the computer. There's the prompt, so we're always going to allow from this computer, and click allow. Now let's jump back into terminal, and over here we can type in ADB devices, and this will show us what's connected. So that's my phone right there, and now we want to type in ADB shell, and that's going to give us access to the shell of the phone over Android debugging bridge. So now we're connected to DM3Q, which is an S23 Ultra. Depending on what device you're doing, it'll show the actual model number of the phone there. Now we can type in PM list packages. So that's going to list all of the packages on the phone. But as you can see, this is a huge list, because this is literally every single package, including everything that requires Android to run. So we want to simplify this a little bit. So we're going to jump back on the phone, and on here, we're just going to swipe up to go home. We're going to open the Play Store, and we're going to be looking for an app called APK Analyzer. And once that's downloaded, we can open it up. Let's click next. Okay, now in here, we'll be able to just scroll through and find whatever apps we want, or if we want to be a little bit more proactive on it, we can actually search for them by clicking on the little magnifying glass. So now that we found Chrome, we can see that the package name is com.android.chrome. Now, before we jump back onto terminal, I just want to show something quick. So we can go back to settings. We're going to go to apps, and in here, we're going to go to Chrome, and you can see that we only have the option to disable this app. We can't actually remove this app. Okay, so let's clear that up so there's nothing in the way. And we're just going to be doing PM uninstall --user 0, and then the package name, which was com.android.chrome. And now you can see success, and on the phone, the package is now gone. Just like that. It's magic. Chrome, it's no longer there. It was just there. It said that we couldn't uninstall it, but wow, it's gone. Magic. Now, what about apps that we can't even disable? So if we go back to settings, go down to apps, we can go all the way down to Samsung Internet. So you can see that this is grayed out and we can't even disable this one. Well, the same thing still applies. So let's type in Samsung Internet, and this one is com.sec.android.app.s browser. So let's just type in that full command again. So PM uninstall --user 0 com.sec.android.app.s browser. Actually, it's just, so even if you make a mistake, nothing happens. You can type in whatever you want. And if the package isn't there, it's not going to damage anything at all with your phone. But if you type it right, it'll still remove the app. Let's jump back over here. You can see on the preview that it says Samsung Internet, and we tap it, and it just immediately goes back to the app list because it's actually gone. Now, you can continue to do this with as many apps as you want, but you do need to be careful with it, because sometimes some of these things are dependent on other things to be running. So for instance, if you use a different launcher like I do, you still cannot remove the OneUI launcher, because if you do, it also breaks the Android gestures. So then you can't swipe up to go home anymore. It also breaks function with the fingerprint reader no longer working on the lock screen. So there are some things back and forth that you have to be mindful of. And something just to be a little bit more safe in this instance is to PM uninstall K, which will keep the actual app in the background, but it's just going to disable it, or it's going to uninstall the app, but it's going to keep the installer for it. So let's say I wanted to uninstall this one, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to fully uninstall. Like I'm not entirely sure that I want this to be gone forever, right? So you would type in a -K right here. So it would be pm uninstall -K user 0 and then the name of the package itself. So that way, if you wanted to reinstall it, you could type in install existing would be to put it back. So this is a great option here because you can completely destroy your phone as long as it will turn back on so you can access ADB, then you can restore the packages exactly the way it was. So that this way you'd be able to remove an app, restart your phone, check to make sure that it's still working when it turns back on. And if it's not, you can re-enable that package that you just removed, restart your phone again, and then you can move on to the next one. So for the bulk of this stuff here, we can do a whole bunch of them in a row because we know exactly what these are. These are just apps, but once you get to system apps like these ones here, we know that these ones are associated to Facebook, but some of them aren't. Some of them are like AR emojis and Bixby utilities and stuff that run in the background, different phone features. So if you use a different dialer app like the Google dialer, so that way you have like spam call blocking or whatever, and let's say you don't want the Samsung one in the background, you can delete that. But if you delete everything for that app and even like the system installed things for that app, you will no longer have service on your phone. It's really hit or miss. You have to do one at a time. Try and figure out what's going on. These ones I know are safe because I've already done them before many times, but I'm going to continue going through, delete everything that I see fit, or at least for the things that I'm not going to be using on this phone. So hopefully you found something useful here. So that wraps up the first part of this video, where you should now have a nice, clean, bloat-free Samsung phone. And like I mentioned earlier, this does work on Samsung tablets. But moving into the Samsung Galaxy Watches, it is going to be a little bit different because Samsung has changed the way that you can wirelessly connect to ADB on these things. And so far, I haven't found a single video where someone has actually touched on it. So hopefully in this next segment, you'll be able to get a Galaxy Watch that has OneUI 5 watch. OneUI watch 5? I can never remember what it is. The OneUI version for your watch that's 5.0 or newer. That applies to this. It still works in anything older than that, but there's tons of coverage about that. It's the newer versions that are super tricky, so we're going to get into that. So you can see ADB is working, but we don't have anything showing up. So how are we going to get a Samsung Galaxy Watch to show up in ADB? First thing we're going to have to do, swipe down from the top. We're going to be opening settings. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom till we get to About Watch. Now in here, we're going to go down till we get to Software Information. We're going to go in there and we're going to tap on Software Version 7 times. Now Developer Options is on, so we can swipe to go back. Swipe to go back again, and now you can see that we have Developer Options. We can scroll until we get to ADB debugging and turn that on. Hit the little check mark, agree to that. Now with ADB debugging enabled, we can go down and we'll go to wireless debugging. So we're going to go here, we're going to enable wireless debugging, and we're just going to connect to the Wi-Fi, always allow this network, allow. Now we have to go down here and you can see that we have our IP address and port. That's going to be important later, but we need to go to pair a new device. Now in here, we're going to have a pairing code and a different port number. So this port number, in instance, is 33141. So now on the computer, make sure ADB is working, which it is. And now we can do ADB pair, and we're going to be pairing to 192.168.250.12, and the port is 33141. Now we can enter the pairing code, which is 359739. Now that it's paired, the watch automatically switches back to the previous screen, and this is where we're going to enter the other port number, which is 35925. So here we can do ADB connect instead of pair, 192.168.250.12:35925. Hit enter, and now we're connected to the device. So ADB devices, and you can see that we're connected to the watch. So we can go to ADB shell. Now this will give us the shell access to the watch. So you can see there WISE UL. So that's a Galaxy Watch 4 LTE. Now we can list everything. So we're going to do PM for the package manager. We're going to list packages. Now, unfortunately, there's a huge list of things here. So I haven't found an easy way, like you can do on like a phone or a tablet, where you just use an app to search the app that you want and it tells you what the package name is. So you'll have to kind of look up whatever you want to remove and then try and figure out what the package name is for that. But at least a simpler way to do this is to put the exact same command in, except this time we have some flags that we can do. So you can put a dash and you could do D for disabled apps. So on the watch itself, you can go through the apps list and you can disable whatever apps that you're not going to be using. And then you could come into here and check for disabled apps. But obviously I have none because this is a fresh install. You can do E for enabled, but right now that's obviously going to be every single one. You can do S, that's going to be for the system installed apps, or to at least make this a little bit easier, we can do 3, which is going to be for the third-party apps. So we're going to search for that. And right here, I don't know why I would ever need to have emails on my watch. So we can just copy that. Now we can do PM uninstall -- user 0, and we can just paste that package name in there, hit enter. There we go. Outlook from Microsoft Office is now uninstalled off of the watch. And we can go through and we can do that with whatever we want. So if I don't want a calculator on my watch, I do want that, so I'm going to leave it. But if I didn't, then I could also remove that. It's just a matter of finding out all of the package names for all of the apps. So if we swipe down, go to settings, go to apps, scroll down until we get to the app list. And now we can scroll through here. Let's try and find something that we don't want. Let's say the Samsung Global Goals. You can see in here, there's nothing that says the actual package name, even in permissions, there's absolutely nothing. So we would need to figure out what the package name is for Global Goals. So to find the package name, what I did was go to the Galaxy store because this is a Samsung app. And in here, I searched for Samsung Global Goals. I installed that and it's installed on the watch. Now this one specifically you can uninstall, but I'm showing how to install apps that you normally wouldn't be able to. So we're ignoring the fact that we're allowed to uninstall this one. And then I went to APK Analyzer and goals in here. And now you can see that the package name is com.samsung.sree. So back in terminal, if we want to list the packages, pipe, grep, SREE. Now we should have every package that's associated to that app. So now let's uninstall the root package there, which is com.samsung.sree. So that's PM uninstall -- user space 0 and then com.samsung.sree. So now that app is removed from the phone. And that's at least as close to I can find to searching and trying to figure out what things are. Obviously, this one has a name that has absolutely nothing that represents the app, which is why you have to kind of do some searching to try and figure out what the package name is for what you're trying to remove. So you should now have a nice, light, debloated Samsung phone or tablet and a Galaxy Watch at this point. Now, these apps aren't going to be using like a ridiculous amount of space or anything. You're not going to be gaining tons back. The idea behind this is to remove any kind of parasitic draw on the battery. And even in the smallest instances, just taking up like a minor amount of space on the storage, that's still adding to the cache. So every time you're reading files or saving whatever, doing anything on it that's using storage, it still has to go through the entire storage to cache it. So the least amount of stuff on your device, the faster it's going to be. Now again, this isn't going to be like this huge, super noticeable difference or anything like that, but doing a whole bunch of small tasks will eventually add up. Plus, you also have the peace of mind of knowing that your battery is only being used for what you're using it for. So you're getting more out of your charge and your battery cycles are staying lower, which means that you're not replacing your battery as frequently. So hopefully you found something useful here. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. It's the month of Samsung, so that's cool. Or don't. I don't know. I'm not telling you what to do.
Just slightly ahead of our time. Panasonic.